So let's talk about artificial intelligence. It feels like it just exploded out of nowhere, right? One minute it's sci-fi, the next it's everywhere. Our news feeds, our jobs, you name it. But is it really this overnight sensation? Yeah, it really does seem that way. I mean, every company is talking about how they use AI. But here's the thing. While all this buzz feels super new, the tech itself has this long, super dramatic, and honestly, fascinating history. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to unpack this whole 70-year story. We'll figure out how we got to this point, take a peek under the hood to see how it all works, and then think about where it could all be heading. Okay, so first things first, what even is AI? You hear that term thrown around all the time, right? Let's lock in a good, solid definition to get us started. See, this is great because it cuts right through all the hype. At its core, the way computer scientists think about AI is as a rational agent. And what that really means is it's just a system that can, look at its environment, take in some information, and then make a move to get closer to some goal. It's not about being conscious or alive. It's all about solving problems. Okay, so how did we get from that simple idea to the crazy powerful tools we have today? Well, let me tell you, it was not a straight line. It was a total roller coaster. I mean, huge hype followed by these massive letdowns. It all kicked off back in 1956 with this audacious goal. Let's make machines think. The first attempt was all about search, making the computer check every single possible answer to a problem. But it hit a wall. It couldn't handle complex stuff. And that brought on the first AI winter. All the money just disappeared. Then, in the 80s, we got expert systems. These are great at one specific task, but they couldn't learn anything new. And, you guessed it, the second AI winter. But this third wave, the one we're in right now, it's totally different. It's built on something way, way more solid. So what is it? What makes this third wave so different? Well, it all comes down to a complete change in how we tell computers what to do. It's not about programming in the old sense, it's about learning. I love this quote from MIT professor Eric Grimson. He's got this hilarious way of putting it. And look, he's kind of joking, but there's a whole lot of truth in there. See, modern AI, what we call machine learning, isn't about a person writing a bunch of rules. It's about letting the machine find patterns in just tons and tons of data. And this right here shows you the big switch. Think about it. Old school programming, you give the computer data and the rules, and it spits out the answers. Machine learning flips that completely on its head. You give it the data and the answers, and the computer's job is to figure out the rules on its own. It literally writes its own program. Okay, let's make this super simple. Imagine you want to teach an AI the difference between a cat and a dog. First, you just show it thousands and thousands of pictures that are already labeled cat or dog. Then, the system turns each picture into a bunch of numbers. Things like the shape of the nose, the texture of the fur. After that, a neural network starts tweaking millions of little internal knobs, they're called weights, over and over until it starts to recognize the patterns that usually mean cat and the ones that usually mean dog. And boom, you've got a trained model that can now look at a brand new picture and make a pretty good guess. So you see, the big takeaway here is that this whole new era is happening because of a perfect storm of three key ingredients. You've got these super sophisticated algorithms, you've got access to just an insane amount of data to teach them with, and finally, you have the raw computing power, thanks to special chips like GPUs, to actually do the work. That's the combo. That's why the AI winters are a thing of the past. All right, that's enough of the technical stuff. Let's get to the fun part. Let's see what happens when all this power gets put to work in the real world. And some of these examples are just wow. I mean, check this out. We have an AI that discovered a brand new antibiotic capable of fighting superbugs. We have systems that can spot the signs of breast cancer 5 years before a human radiologist can. There's even an AI that can track someone's vital signs with no contact just by watching how their body disrupts the Wi-Fi signals in a room. And that's not even mentioning the vision systems that are letting cars drive themselves and robots tend to our crop. And here's a little nerdy detail I just love. That new antibiotic, the one the AI found, the MIT team named it Halicin. Get it? Halicin. After HAL 9000 from 2001, A Space Odyssey. It just goes to show you, even the most brilliant scientists are huge nerds. Now, all of that stuff is amazing, for sure. But, and this is a really big but, it's so important to remember that AI is a tool. It's not magic. And just like any powerful tool, if you use it the wrong way, You can actually do more harm than good.
Let me show you what I mean. There was this really clever study from MIT. The researchers took a bunch of managers, and first they gave them a task that's a perfect fit for something like GPT-4. Writing some creative marketing copy, that kind of thing.
And the results were just incredible. The people who used GPT-4 were 38% better and faster. And for the folks with less experience, they saw a massive 43% boost. So a huge win for AI, right? Okay, but then came the twist. The researchers gave them a second task. And this one was designed to be something the AI would be terrible at. A problem that needed deep, insider knowledge about the company that the AI couldn't possibly know. And get this, the group using GPT-4, their performance actually went down. They did 13% worse than the people who didn't use it at all. So what on earth happened? Well, Professor Grimson nails it. The reason is pretty simple. They trusted it too much. They just assumed, hey, it's an AI, it's gotta be right. And that's the key lesson here, isn't it? The real skill isn't just knowing how to use the tool. It's knowing when to use it, and maybe even more importantly, when to put it down.
So, if we can learn that lesson, if we can learn to use this tool in the right way, what does that open up for us? Well, it's something huge. It's basically a whole new way of doing science and making discoveries. Think of it like this. For hundreds of years, science has stood on two legs. You had theory, the language of math. And you had experimentation, getting your hands dirty in the lab. Well, now AI and computation have given us a brand new, powerful third leg for that stool. It lets us explore and test ideas in ways that were just impossible before. And that's why this time feels so different. This isn't just another hype cycle that's going to fade away. Those AI winters are over. This wave is built on real science, and it's here to stay. So now, the challenge for all of us is to figure out how to live with it, how to adapt to it, and how to use it well. And that really leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? We now have one of the most powerful tools for discovery ever created. The tech is here, so the real story, the one that's just beginning, is what are we going to choose to build with it?